Have you ever felt the sharp sting of betrayal when someone you trusted turned against you, or the burning sensation of anger when someone spread lies about you? Or perhaps the quiet ache of disappointment when you realize that no matter how kind you are, some people will simply despise you for existing? What if I told you that Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, faced the same struggles and discovered something that changed everything? He learned that enemies are not obstacles to avoid, but stepping stones to wisdom and inner strength. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most counterintuitive teachings of Stoicism, how to transform your enemies into your greatest teachers, and how opposition can become the very fuel that propels you toward excellence. By the end of this journey, you will discover why the Stoic does not fear making enemies, but instead understands that conflict reveals character and adversity forges virtue. More importantly, you will learn practical strategies from Marcus Aurelius himself on how to navigate criticism, betrayal, and hatred with such grace that you emerge stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than ever before. This is not about being passive or accepting abuse. This is about mastering the ancient art of turning poison into medicine and discovering that the people who hate you might just be doing you the greatest favor of all. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Think about that for a moment. Here was the Emperor of Rome, the most powerful individual in the known world, starting his day by reminding himself that he would encounter difficult people. He was not being pessimistic, he was being realistic, and more than that, he was preparing himself mentally for the inevitable conflicts that come with living a meaningful life. This is the first profound lesson from Stoic philosophy. Making enemies is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that you stand for something. When you live according to your principles, when you refuse to compromise your integrity, when you speak truth in a world that often prefers comfortable lies, you will make enemies, and that is perfectly fine. The Stoic understands that the absence of enemies might actually indicate the absence of conviction, because if everyone likes you, it probably means you have never challenged anyone, never stood up for anything, never dared to be different. Now pause for a moment and think about your own life. Who are the people that have opposed you, criticized you, or even betrayed you? How did you respond to them? Did you collapse into resentment, spending sleepless nights replaying their words in your mind? Or did you try to win them over, bending yourself into shapes that no longer resembled who you truly are? Before we continue, I want you to do something right now. Take a moment and leave a comment below, telling me this: I have been hurt by someone I trusted, and I am ready to transform that pain into power. Write that exact phrase, because your words have power. And by declaring this, you are taking the first step toward reclaiming your strength. When you share this, you're not just helping yourself. You are creating a community of people who understand that pain is universal, but so is the capacity for growth. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to see today, to know they are not alone in their struggle. So go ahead, type it out, and let this be the moment you decide to turn your wounds into wisdom. Marcus Aurelius faced enemies on every front: military threats from barbarian tribes at the borders, political rivals within the Senate, even family members who plotted against him, and yet he remained one of history's most admired leaders, not because he eliminated his enemies, but because he understood their purpose. He wrote that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy. Obstacles are not hindrances. They are opportunities, and enemies are not threats. They are tests. Every person who opposes you is offering you a gift. Whether they know it or not, they are showing you where you need to grow, where your armor has weak points, where your principles need strengthening. When someone criticizes you, they force you to examine whether that criticism has merit, and if it does, you grow, and if it does not, you learn to stand firm in your truth, unshaken by external noise. When someone betrays you, they teach you discernment, showing you who deserves your trust and who does not. When someone hates you for your success, they reveal that you are doing something worth noticing, something that threatens the comfortable mediocrity they have settled for. If this resonates with you, if you have ever felt misunderstood, attacked, or opposed for simply being yourself, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel, because here we explore the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical tools for navigating the real challenges you face every single day. We dive deep into the teachings that helped emperors, warriors, and ordinary people alike transform their suffering into strength, their chaos into clarity. This is not about positivity for its own sake. This is about building an unshakable foundation within yourself, so that no matter what storms come your way, you remain standing. So if you are ready to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your inner peace, hit that subscribe button. Because this journey is just beginning, and the insights ahead will challenge everything you thought you knew about conflict, adversity, and human nature. Let us talk about why enemies emerge in the first place, and why, according to Stoic wisdom, they are actually necessary for your development. Marcus Aurelius understood something that most people miss. Success, virtuous living, and authenticity naturally create opposition. Think about it this way: when you improve yourself, you inadvertently hold up a mirror to others, showing them what they could be but are not. Your discipline highlights their laziness, your integrity exposes their compromise, your courage reveals their cowardice, and this creates discomfort in them. Rather than face that discomfort and change themselves, it is far easier for them to attack you, to diminish your achievements, to spread rumors, to undermine your reputation. Because if they can bring you down to their level, they no longer have to face the uncomfortable truth about their own choices. This is not cruelty. This is human nature, and the Stoic accepts this without bitterness. Marcus wrote that people exist for the sake of one another, so either teach them or endure them. Notice he does not say defeat them or destroy them or even avoid them. He says teach them or endure them, because the Stoic recognizes that most people who act as enemies are not inherently evil. They are simply trapped in their own suffering, projecting their inner turmoil outward. They have not done the inner work to understand their emotions, to question their assumptions, to build the mental fortitude that allows them to celebrate others rather than tear them down. So when someone attacks you, the Stoic response is not revenge, it is compassion mixed with boundaries. You understand they are acting from a place of pain, but you do not allow their pain to become yours. You do not absorb their poison. You simply observe it, recognize it for what it is, and refuse to let it contaminate your inner peace. Here is where the Stoic philosophy becomes truly powerful in its practicality. When you encounter an enemy, you have three options according to Marcus Aurelius and his fellow Stoics. The first option is to change them through reason and example. If someone opposes you because they misunderstand your intentions, you can patiently explain yourself, demonstrate through your actions that their perception is incorrect, and potentially win them over, not as a defeated enemy, but as a converted ally. This requires tremendous patience and the wisdom to recognize when someone is genuinely open to changing their mind, versus when they are so committed to their narrative that no amount of evidence will sway them. The second option is to endure them with grace. Some people will never change, some conflicts cannot be resolved, and some enemies will remain enemies until the end. The Stoic does not waste energy fighting battles that cannot be won. Instead, they focus on controlling what they can control, which is their own response. You can endure opposition without letting it disturb your inner tranquility. You can face criticism without letting it shake your self-worth. You can encounter betrayal without letting it poison your capacity for trust. This is not weakness. This is the ultimate strength, the ability to remain yourself, regardless of external circumstances. The third option, and this is perhaps the most liberating of all, is to recognize that some people are meant to be your enemies, and that is perfectly fine. Not everyone will like you, not everyone will understand you, not everyone will celebrate your success, and trying to win over people who are fundamentally opposed to what you represent is an exhausting waste of your precious life energy. Marcus Aurelius ruled over millions of people, and he knew that some of them despised him not because of anything he did wrong, but simply because he held power, or because his decisions affected them in ways they did not like, or because they had their own agendas that conflicted with his vision for Rome. He could have spent every waking moment trying to appease his critics, trying to craft the perfect image, trying to be all things to all people, but instead he focused on doing what he believed was right according to his principles, and accepting that opposition was simply part of the job. This freed him from the exhausting need for universal approval, and it can free you too. Now let us explore the specific strategies Marcus Aurelius used to deal with enemies and how you can apply them in your own life starting today. The first strategy is morning preparation, which we touched on earlier. Every morning before the chaos of the day begins, take a few moments to remind yourself that you will encounter difficult people. Do not do this with dread, but with calm acceptance, the way a warrior puts on armor before battle. Tell yourself today, I might face criticism, betrayal, or opposition, and that is fine because I know who I am, I know what I stand for, and I will not let external voices drown out my inner compass. This simple practice creates psychological distance between you and the inevitable challenges of the day. When criticism comes, you will not be blindsided by it, you will have already prepared for it mentally, and that preparation makes all the difference between reacting emotionally and responding wisely. The second strategy is the view from above, a meditation technique Marcus Aurelius practiced regularly. When someone attacks you, step back mentally and see the situation from a broader perspective. Imagine you are looking down at the earth from high above, and you see yourself and your enemy as two tiny figures on a vast planet spinning through infinite space. From this perspective, how significant is this conflict really? In 100 years, you will both be dead and forgotten by most, and the petty argument you are having right now will matter to no one. This is not meant to be depressing. It is meant to be liberating, because when you see things from this cosmic perspective, you realize that most of the things that upset you are simply not worth the emotional energy you are investing in them. Your enemy's opinion of you, their attempt to harm your reputation, their petty schemes, all of this is so small, so temporary, so ultimately meaningless in the grand scheme of existence that you can simply let it go and focus on what actually matters, which is living according to your values and making the most of the brief time you have on this earth. The third strategy is to examine what you can learn from opposition. Marcus wrote that everything that happens to you is an opportunity for virtue. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, is there any truth in what they are saying, even if it is delivered cruelly or unfairly? Often, our enemies see things about us that our friends are too polite to mention. They might exaggerate or distort the truth, but buried in their attack might be a kernel of valid feedback that you can use to improve yourself. This requires tremendous honesty and humility to sift through the hostility and extract the useful information, but the Stoic is committed to truth above ego. If the criticism is valid, you thank your enemy for showing you where you need to grow. If the criticism is baseless, you dismiss it without anger because you recognize it says more about them than about you. The fourth strategy is to respond with virtue regardless of how others treat you. Marcus Aurelius believed that the best revenge is to be unlike the one who performed the injury. When someone betrays you, the temptation is to betray them back. When someone spreads lies about you, the temptation is to spread lies about them. When someone treats you with cruelty, the temptation is to respond with cruelty. But the Stoic recognizes that when you respond to vice with vice, you have become exactly like your enemy, and they have succeeded in bringing you down to their level. Instead, the Stoic responds to betrayal with integrity, to lies with truth, to cruelty with compassion, not because the enemy deserves it, but because you deserve to maintain your own character, regardless of external circumstances. This is the ultimate victory, not defeating your enemy, but remaining true to yourself, despite their attempts to corrupt you. The fifth strategy is to use opposition as fuel for excellence. Marcus observed that the fire transforms everything thrown into it and rises higher because of it. In the same way, you can take the energy of opposition, the sting of criticism, the pain of betrayal, and use it as motivation to improve, to work harder, to achieve more. Think of every enemy as someone who is investing their time and energy in you, admittedly negative energy, but energy nonetheless. They are thinking about you, talking about you, trying to affect you, which means you have their attention. Rather than being wounded by this attention, use it as proof that you matter, that you are making an impact, that you are significant enough to oppose. Some of the greatest achievements in history were fueled by the desire to prove critics wrong, to show betrayers what they lost, to demonstrate to those who doubted that they were mistaken. This is not about validation from others, it is about internal drive using external opposition as the spark that ignites your inner fire. Let us also address a common misconception about Stoicism, that it means being emotionless or passive in the face of wrongdoing. This is absolutely false. Marcus Aurelius was not a passive doormat who accepted abuse with a smile. He was a military commander who defended Rome's borders, a judge who upheld laws, a leader who made difficult decisions that not everyone agreed with. The Stoic does not avoid conflict when conflict is necessary. What they avoid is unnecessary emotional turmoil about conflict. They do not hate their enemies. They simply deal with them efficiently and without personal attachment. If someone needs to be confronted, the Stoic confronts them calmly and clearly. If someone needs to be removed from your life, the Stoic removes them without drama or guilt. If someone needs to face consequences for their actions, the Stoic ensures those consequences happen without vindictiveness or cruelty. This is justice without anger, action without attachment, effectiveness without emotional exhaustion. As we near the end of this exploration, there is one final insight that Marcus Aurelius offers about enemies, and it might be the most powerful of all. He wrote that when another person wrongs, you immediately consider what notion of good or evil they had when they did it, because once you understand that, you will feel pity rather than anger. This is profound because it shifts your entire relationship with opposition. When you recognize that people who hurt you are operating from flawed beliefs about what will make them happy or safe or significant, you stop taking their actions personally. They are not attacking you because of who you are, they are attacking you because of who they are and what they believe. The person who betrays you believes that self-interest is more important than loyalty. The person who spreads lies about you believes that bringing others down will lift them up. The person who hates you for your success believes that life is a competition where your gain must mean their loss. These are sad, limited beliefs, and when you understand that your enemies are prisoners of their own false philosophies, you can actually feel compassion for them, even as you protect yourself from them. So what does this mean for you, practically? It means you can stop living in fear of making enemies because you understand that enemies are inevitable when you live authentically. It means you can stop wasting energy trying to win over people who are committed to misunderstanding you because you recognize some battles are not worth fighting. It means you can stop collapsing into resentment when people oppose you because you see their opposition as information about them, not about you. It means you can transform every attack into an opportunity, every betrayal into a lesson, every moment of hatred into a chance to practice unshakable inner peace. This is the art of making enemies, not deliberately seeking conflict, but understanding that conflict is unavoidable and learning to use it as raw material for building your character. Marcus Aurelius turned the enemies who plotted against him into case studies in human nature. He turned the barbarians who attacked Rome's borders into opportunities to practice courage and strategic thinking. He turned the pain of betrayal by those close to him into deeper wisdom about trust and discernment. And you can do the same. Every enemy you face is a teacher disguised as an opponent. Every criticism is a mirror showing you either where you need to improve or where you need to stand firmer. Every betrayal is a clarifying moment revealing who deserves your energy and who does not. The Stoic does not fear making enemies because the Stoic understands that a life without opposition is a life without growth, and a person who has never been tested has never truly discovered what they are capable of. So the next time someone opposes you, remember Marcus Aurelius. and ask yourself, what is this person teaching me? How is this opposition making me stronger? What virtue can I practice in response to this challenge? And most importantly, am I remaining true to myself regardless of external pressure? Because that is the ultimate measure of success, not whether everyone likes you, but whether you like yourself when you look in the mirror. Not whether you avoid all conflict, but whether you face conflict with grace, integrity, and wisdom. Not whether you have no enemies, but whether you transform your enemies into stepping stones on your path to becoming the best version of yourself. This is the ancient art of the Stoic, and it is available to you right now, in this very moment, with whatever challenges you are currently facing. The question is, will you use opposition as an excuse to become bitter, or as an opportunity to become better? The choice, as always, is yours.